everyone, and welcome back to the Black Robe podcast. It's your girl, Anjane here with more than just my one co-host. Now I have a host of co-hosts today for this special podcast. I like to call it, maybe we're having a podcast party. I think, how's that sound, Carol? We having a podcast party today? Yeah, you guys like that? Awesome.
Yes,
well, let's kick it off with Carol. Check in, as we always do. We got to pay homage to our elders.
Yes, your elders. Hey, this is exciting because, our baby turned 1 year old the first week of October. We're celebrating not only the birth creation of the Institute for Black Justice, but the Black Robe podcast, which we did our first show on October 2nd of 2020. And it's hard to believe that we're a year out. One of the things we wanted to do today was acknowledge all of the people behind the scenes that have made it possible for you and I to be upfront and confident and carry out this vision that we were given about a year or so ago. So we want to just have everybody that's on the call on the podcast tonight. They're all part of our brain trust. We're just going to hear from them very briefly about why they're here, why they stay, how they got here, and just give them a big thank you and a round of applause. So maybe we can start with, you want to start with Drew, since he's next to me. Drew Ebersole, you want to just introduce yourself and have a few remarks about the anniversary?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say these virtual backgrounds are funny because they always change the shape of your head a little bit. So a little funny, you know why, but I would say Institute of Black Justice is obviously the right thing to do. And to be part of it means you're aligning with the right thing to do. So I feel honored and humbled to be part of the right thing. I know that all the people involved with it are phenomenal. Deeply connected people to the world, wanting to do, again, good work and do well while doing it. So manifest abundance while creating justice. And that's really what IBJ is all about. And I'm honored to be part of it. And it's been a phenomenal journey thus far.
Love it. And Drew, can you tell our audience how you help the IBJ? What is your role in this well-oiled machine that we're trying to put it together here?
Well, the question is more how IBJ has helped me as a person, but I'll also offer a little bit. It has allowed me an avenue to put forth my energy into doing something worthwhile. That's really why I'm here. I would say as much as I give in wanting to offer that understanding, that mentality around creating abundance with your thinking, around understanding the leverage you can apply with your perspective, with your thinking. It's not just about acts or trying to create something with your hands and your voice and your heart. It's about really using your mental model, your mental abilities to be a fulcrum for a leverage of change. And it's around the stories you tell yourself, the stories we tell each other. And it's around the history we create together. And it's around this story that needs to be told, around stories that are untold and stories that need to be told. And I think that's part of what's really happening in the present moment. So I feel that it's a beautiful way to help us realize our own stories within this and who we are. And so I'm learning that every single time and every single day by being with every single person on IBJ.
I love it. You guys heard it. Drew is like the angel on the IBJ shoulder that's always reminding us to think positive and to manifest and to go out here confident, even when we didn't have backgrounds and we barely even had broadband. Drew was that angel on our shoulder, and we couldn't be here without you. Thank you so much.
Just had one other quick thing. As some of the viewers might not know, I overcame a brain tumor. And so what you're seeing a little bit is not just the background differential with myself here in the virtual background, it's facial paralysis on the right side. And I think what that did for me, Anjane, is allow me to understand in my own perspective how to turn something that looked tragic or looked like a deficit into an asset and into a triumph. And that's really, I think, what IBJ is doing too, is understanding how to be an alchemist with the challenge that you're presented with and making it gold right in front of you. And again, that's what this organization is doing extremely well. And 1 year is just the start of something that's going to be magnificent.
Just a start. Thanks so much, Drew. Let's pass it over to Art. Art, you're on mute.
Aha. Hi, I'm Art Watkins. I've been part of the IBJ since IBJ started. I was fortunate enough to know Carol and listen to her vision and hear her desire for what she wanted for the IBJ. And along with Anjhane, I was able to help in the background, do some of the procurement. I was the original camera guy. I was
original light, original sound.
Yeah. So
the gaffer.
The gaffer, yeah. And so I've grown with the IBJ. I've watched it grow from a caterpillar just starting to nibble on the leaves. And now look, it's got butterfly wings. You know, it has grown, it has moved. I can see it moving more, especially the additional programs that are growing out of it, like the Chimes program. It's just amazing to watch this thing grow and become something so vibrant and be supported. I was at the Freedom Summer Symposium. That was just an amazing thing to watch those young people just jump in there and come up with ideas on how to change, you know, the way things are. And I think there's going to be more coming out of that just from some of the emails I've seen. So I'm just along for the ride and help where I can. I'm learning and growing with the IBJ, and I'm looking forward to another couple of years. Congratulations, IBJ, 1 year down.
Yeah. So many more to go.
Thank you, Arthur.
Thank you so much, Art. Anjali, I'm sorry. Because I get my name mispronounced every day, almost all the time.
It's only fair that you mispronounce somebody else's once in a while.
It's not fair. If I do it to someone, I cannot perpetuate that same trauma that I have to undergo. Okay, so I got to get it right. Anjali.
Yes, you did got it. You did get it right the second time and the third. Thank you so much. Well, I know it's hard because it was phonetically spelled across the world, where we obviously see names and letters and sounds differently. So it's very hard for people when I either had to change the spelling of my name and the passport, blah, 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 blah. It would have been just too complicated. So great.
And it's your name. I mean, that's your identity. You know, it's the least people can do is just say it right.
No, thank you so much, Anjali. It's yours for trying. But I want to talk to you all about IBJ, and I think we talked about it very fleetingly, Carol and I, on one of our tete-a-tetes, that she was toying with this idea, and I was like, whoa, that sounds really good. And I cannot believe that within a year, it's up and going, and it's all the effort and the drive of Carol C. Mitchell. And it's been divine intervention. I think when we go through hardships and injustice, and that's when God makes us realize that your calling, our calling, is something else. And that's what her calling was, to go through something so severe. And then we could never imagine that something can happen to a person of her education, background, accomplishments, that can totally throw off a person off their feet. But then she's the one who, like a leader, has led us into this program, this institution, which is so invigorating, inspiring. And obviously, how could I not be a part of it? Carol has been my mentor in America. I met her some 20 years ago. Well, I was floundering around looking for my feet here, which, by the way, I never found. But anyway, because America's like that. You have no idea what's coming at you. You know, you think you got it right, but then something else comes and kind of like a bat from the, or you could say from the from the background or from the side or woodwork or whatever, and it hits you. And what happened during the pandemic, as you saw the events unfold, that was beyond reality and beyond belief, that this is what's been happening, and it's been under covers. And thank goodness for social media today that we could see the reality. I have seen some pretty severe situations where I grew up in India. My family experienced it. I experienced it visually myself, and persecution, political persecution. But we always thought America was a land of the free and the just, and it's given that impression of being a utopia or maybe a heaven on earth. But when you actually come and live here, the reality is very different. But if it, like, I learned the national anthem when I was giving my test for my immigration. You know, we have to learn all about America, and of course, national anthem is one, and then it ends up with the land of the free and brave. And this is what we've got to make it. It's a work in progress, and I'd love to be with IBJ while we make this work, this journey towards making a better world for our kids and our future.
Beautifully said, sister, my Sahali. Very beautifully said. I met Anjali when I was just a brand new lawyer. Didn't even know how to spell lawyer. She was one of my first clients, and we had some crazy stuff happening, but I'm just enriched by her presence, not to mention her cooking skills. So glad, so glad
I want to
she
try
is here. Yeah, glad she calls me sister. And Sara Dannen, of course, I think Sara was sort of recruited without knowing that was happening by my friend Christy Miller-Gledhill, with whom Sara does some work. I had told Christy that we were building this brain trust. We wanted some progressive thinkers, maybe some risk takers who believed in equity and justice to join us and be part of the effort. And we had no idea what was going to happen in the first year. But Sara, you were willing to take a chance on it and joined up.
Yeah, I'm glad I did. Man, what a ride it's been. I don't think I've ever been involved in an organization that has such incredible leadership and that is just breaking ground and taking huge strides each time you move forward. I mean, we started out with one grant that was impressive so early in, and then another one that's even bigger, and programs that are just moving from there on both a macro and a micro level. Over the last year, the IBJ has, developed its goals and its I want to say slogans, but we're working for equal justice with no exceptions, and that's huge. That's why, as an industrial appeals judge, I got involved in this sort of movement back in 2017. I started with the death of Philando Castile and wanted to do something, so worked on some youth dialogues. But from a judge's perspective, or an industrial appeals judge's perspective, I wanted to try to find a way to impact our judicial system overall and see if we could kind of tweak those things that need to be tweaked so that we can have equal justice with no exceptions. I think that's really huge. And so this place has been a great place for me to work and to help support through the Brain Trust. I've tried to use some of the resources that I have attending Minority and Justice Commission meetings through the state Supreme Court. I'm not a member or commission member of that, but to try to bring in some connections there for the IBJ and just do what I can to help out. Like former experience as a public defender and a prosecutor, but nowhere near the experience that Carol brings to this board. Just so glad that I get to be part of this. So thank you for that experience.
Thank you,
Sara.
Thank you, Sara. I am just so grateful to have a brain trust that's as dedicated to this work as I am. that really sees the need, the value, and the leadership to believe in the IBJ, to even, continue to show up to our brain trust meetings, continue to connect us with the right stakeholders, right? The right players in this game, in this state, and even beyond our state's borders, right? When we really think about how big the IBJ can grow. I love that we have our international perspective with Anjali here and really giving that to us to see how far we've really come, but there's more work to be done, right? We have the law and policy, we got the tech, we got the prayer warrior. I mean, we are a balanced board, but I don't want to forget our DC folks, our young design challengers, those 18 to 35-year-olds. On this call, it might only look like we got one demographic, one generation, but it's not true. There are young people behind the scenes as well that are doing a lot of work to help the IBJ, with our programming. So I definitely want to just give a shout out to them. Carol, I'm gonna pass the mic over to you.
Yeah, well, we first of all, Drew, Arthur, Anjali, and Sara, thank you so much for taking the time out to just be with us. Before we end, I'm just going to ask each of you why you stick with us. This is a startup and entrepreneurial venture, and there were highs and lows, extremes, and it moved extremely fast. But maybe just take a minute and tell us, why are you still here? What's your hope for the IBJ in the future? And I do want to acknowledge the Brain Trust members who are not here with us tonight and couldn't be online. And that includes Sally Perkins, Threat Brown, Rhonda Brown, Wanda Thompson, Eve Bowen. Thank you all as well, even though you couldn't be on the podcast tonight. We know you're with us in spirit, and we appreciate you greatly. So let's just close it out with why are you here, and what is your hope for the IBJ over the next year? Drew, you want to start since we started with you?
Sure. So first of all, I want to acknowledge the Brain Trust are a group of highly committed, capable people. So, deep thanks to all of those who are volunteering their time and energy into this. And all the people on the ground who do all the work. And as Anjane said, all the DCs and everybody else who does some great work, completely and heartedly, great minds, great hearts, great spirits. And of course, to Anjane for all the work she does. A lot of credit has been given, and she does a tremendous amount and gives wholeheartedly of everything she does and does it at a very high level. And Carol obviously has is the vision keeper for a lot of this and has pulled all this together. And she's like a magnetic force, and you gravitationally just have to come in around her. She's kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars. He kind of passes her hand across. Says, "Of course you will be part of the IBJ." You're like, "Of course I will be part of the IBJ." So it works like that. And if you know her, you'll know what I mean. But I think what I really have to say is I'm part of this because you look for things that are, again, aligned with goodness and that are integral. And this is an integral organization. So what I guess my message is to all the viewers, if you're looking for a pathway to get involved, if you're looking for a way to focus that energy, not in a way that's destructive, but constructive, that's going to build, that's going to create, that's going to manifest some kind of change, then IBJ is an excellent opportunity. And you should contact Anzhane and contact Carol and talk to them about ways that you can align and be part of that. Because the more we have, the more force we have, the more energy we have to create good in the world. And that's really what the hallmark and the legacy of all our lives will be, is what we've done that's good and right with our time on this planet. And that's where IBJ really strikes a central chord, because it hits it right on the money. It's how to align yourself with that greater good and do good. So no doubt there's thanks to everyone, but this is about you, the viewer, as a hero character in this little movie, right, that's happening right now. You can step up and be part of it. So we encourage you to think about it, because if you're on the fence, lean in and you'll find something miraculous can happen. So I just want to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Drew. Well said. I think Arthur might be trying to get signed back in here. So why don't we move on and have Anjali take yourself off mute and maybe just tell us why you're still with us and what is your one hope for the IBJ for the coming year?
Oh goodness, after everything Bruce said, I can't even think of one different thing to say. Everything he said resonates with what I feel. But yes, but on a personal note, I could not find myself anywhere else, because whenever I find I'm at loss of challenge or words or mission, or feel as if I'm alone in this world, I feel IBJ is a place to go to and feel part of something beautiful, wonderful that's been created here. I grew up in the land of Mahatma Gandhi, and I was privileged to have brought a statue of his and brought him to the state of Washington as a gift from the government of India. And that's what we live by, his words of truth, nonviolence, and equality for all. And if IBJ, I think, is a modern mission of which is carrying on with his word, of course, following in the footsteps of Dr. Martin Luther King and everyone else who has been in good trouble. And I love to be in this good trouble. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We love your good trouble. We love your good trouble.
Thank you.
There's
Yes.
Art. He's
Oh,
back.
okay, Art, do you want to take yourself off of mute and just share what's your hope for the IBJ for the next year?
Well, pardon my technical difficulties, and me being the technical person, of course, it had to act up on me. So, so my hope for the IBJ is just to continue to watch it grow, because I know you have plans. You want to do more, and in order for IBJ to do more, it's going to take more people, because I know you put in 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you know, in order to do all the good things that the IBJ is capable of, I think that you have to grow your associates and the people who are putting boots on the ground. And I was privileged to be at that training at the Tacoma Colored Women's Club about the Chimes program, so I can see that growing. So I'm just here to do whatever I can to support IBJ and Carol's dream. I know it's going to go somewhere, it's going to grow. And all those grants, all those hours you put in writing grants and helping people will bear fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I received that. Yes, from your mouth to God's ears. Sara, you want to tell us what your hope is for the next year for the IBJ or for the future? And then we're going to have Anjane wrap it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I became a participant in the first place because, you know, working in law for the last 20 years or so, I've realized that this is a man-made system, and our legal system is, because it's made by humans, it's going to have some areas that can be fixed, and there's always room for improvement, and I want to be part of that solution. So I'm here, and I'm looking forward to the next year to be part of that, to help lend support where I can, to watch this group just take off by leaps and bounds, and to see those both macro and micro solutions that this group is offering and will continue to offer. I think our goal towards equal justice with no exceptions is huge, and I want to be part of that solution. I want to be part of that change. So that's why I'm here, and I'm just so grateful that I had the ability to be part of that. So thank you, and congratulations again on a year. Yay!
Thank you, Sara. Yay!
Thank you so much.
You are all part of it. So, Anjane,
absolutely. Well, can I say what my hope and vision for this next year? I would really love to see the IBJ have a home space. We desperately need a hub that can be used for the community, where we can have events to bring us together, where we can have trainings to educate other people, where we can have a library just so people can come and read more about history, Black history, right? Not only here in the States, but the across the diaspora, right? I think that education is lost out here in the Pacific Northwest, and the IBJ can be that hub to bring it to the community. So it might be an ambitious goal, but hey, we never thought that we would be here a year later. So who knows where we'll be in a year from now. And I just hope that having that centralized location for the IBJ, that the community could identify us, that the community could walk into our doors and call out the injustice and the next initiative that we need to be focusing on. That's what we need. And that's my wish and prayer for us in this next year. So, but thank you all for joining us. Thank you guys at home for continuing to tune in to our little old podcast every week, week after week. We cannot do this without you. It has been now, 54 weeks strong of the Black Robe podcast, and that's huge. We couldn't have done it without you guys. Carol, do you have any final words before we close out?
Just so happy that your beautiful self got talked into this and was willing to follow along in uncharted territory. Grateful for the brilliant mind of Drew Ebersole, whose wisdom, frankly, he challenged us to dream big. So, hey, your space and place that you're envisioning, hey, I'm not going to say it won't happen. It probably will happen.
It will happen.
If we're involved, and if we, if that's what we say we want, then we have some techniques that we've learned for how to manifest it. And we've got this great brain trust behind us with their unique skill set, their wisdom, their commitment, their loyalty to us, and then the people they're connected to who can also help us. So thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you guys all. Last thing, I want to just shout out the next event that our DC Design Challengers are working on right now, hosting a Get Out the Vote event centered around Halloween, and we're actually calling it the IBJ's Black-a-ween Party. It's gonna be right here in Tacoma.
The Black-a-ween Party. Only young people would come up with that.
And the theme is, of course, we're coming unapologetically Black. Come dressed as your favorite Black inventor, your favorite Black invention. The theme is around Black history, Black greatness, Blackness, right? We come from kings and queens. Come in a costume of Cleopatra, King Tut, right? We want to see it. October 31st. We'll put out more information on the IBJ social media and website in the days to come, okay? So stay tuned on that.
IBJ Black-a-ween Party. And we want you to vote. By the way, I'm going to be hosting TV Tacoma's elections on November 2nd. So if you don't vote, I will probably call you out on television. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys so much. You guys have a great night. We'll see you next week. Bye.